So what you were saying about yesterday with, hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to About This Aging Thing. Black may not crack, but what about the other shit? And shit for us is an acronym. It stands for sex, health, interest, and truth. Today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. So it's our interest segment. We're going to be talking about cannabis. I have a few things I want to share before we introduce our illustrious guest. And I know I got to put my eyes on because I don't want to be struggling like I was on the other show. I was trying to read something. It was hilarious, Robin. So did you guys know that cannabis is only legal in 21 states? I did not know that. 85% of Americans want cannabis legalized. Nobody's listening. $3 billion in retail taxes have been made thus far. The industry will add nearly $100 billion to the economy. People of color are only 10% of the business. Only 10%. And did you guys know, I didn't know this, that the largest dispensary is owned by one of the 10%, which is P. Diddy. Did you know that?
I did.
I did not know that.
I did know that.
So, who am I talking to, you ask? This is Robin Little. She is the owner of Greenleaf Potions. She's the CEO of Greenleaf Potions, and also she just got the illustrious title of Goddess of Ganja at the Las Vegas conference. We're gonna let her tell us how she acquired that title and a little bit more about her. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you, love. Good afternoon, everybody. Ooh, Goddess of Ganja. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
That is definitely an honor.
My pleasure.
Wow. I didn't pick that for myself. Let's just say that. Did an expo in Vegas, did a infusion workshop on infusing edibles, dosing women of color, women over 50. Great event. And I won that title, actually, out of the panelists. Mm-hmm. So definitely an honor. I don't particularly say I'm the goddess, so to speak, but I'll take that.
But you might be, yeah.
I'll take that. Let's say I am the goddess of Atlanta, for sure. For sure.
So, Robin, tell us how long Greenleaf Potions has been in business. How long have you?
We have been in business since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I started cooking with cannabis in 2013 to do with my own health. Mm-hmm. And from there, I think I studied and said, you know what, this may be a great avenue and a great business to be in because it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
You know, it really doesn't feel like work. I really did take it as, wow, this may be my calling.
Right, yeah, I agree with that.
I think that, especially as women, when we transition to a new phase of our life, we do kind of evaluate and say, you know what, I'm gonna live for purpose and I'm gonna live for me. Mm-hmm. So I took a little shift. Mm-hmm. Cannabis being my shift.
Wow. Well, you guys don't know this, but Robin also is a fantastic cook. Fantastic cook. So it just makes sense to me that you would bring that skill into that business of infusion. Can you tell us a little bit more? You mentioned about health. Can you tell us a little bit more about the health benefits of using infused items? Or just using cannabis, period?
Just using cannabis, period. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can consume cannabis. But I'm going to say for me, starting off with my own health, whether it be suffering from my own mental health, whether it's my anxiety, I suffer from PTSD, that's my own stuff, chronic pain, back and neck. And I didn't really want to continue taking opioids. And just continue taking it because you're just going to take them for the rest of your life and then have other issues later. Mm-hmm. So I started with that. And then I learned, wow, this helps depression. Wow, this is going to help my anxiety. And I don't have, that's 2 less pills you have to take. Wow, pain. So many of us, especially, I'm going to speak to women of color. Mm-hmm. We tend to mask our pain and keep it moving.
Right.
We don't have time to say, oh my gosh, this hurt, that hurt, my side hurt, my knee hurt, this is going on. We are the pillar of our communities, of our families, the cornerstone. So we don't have time to do that.
Right.
So for me, it was more of, wow, let's study more and see what we could be doing naturally. Number one, let's cut these health bills. Let's cut these health costs. So I'd much rather take something natural,
right,
that's been here for centuries, than I have a pill case and it's Monday through Sunday and I got about 15 pills per day. Who wants to live like that? That's
right.
not a quality of life. You know, you are existing and you're living, and the doctor is rich, but you still in pain.
Right.
And I think that we more are leaning toward quality of life, I guess. More and more women are conscious about their health, their mental health, their physical health, their well-being as a whole. And for me, cannabis assists with your well-being as a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. So I just want to speak to what you just said about some people who have to have a whole lot of medications. I don't want to, anyone to be offended if you do have that life and you're like, well, that's what I have to do in order for me to function. We get that, right? But there are also alternatives. And some people think that when you start talking about cannabis therapy, that you're talking about smoking. Some people don't like the act of smoking, but that you don't have to smoke. They even have capsules now that you can take just like your regular Western medicine to ease your pains. The other thing I wanted to talk about when you were talking about that, are there certain strands, or is it strain? What word am I? Strains for different ailments for people?
There is. And that's, I think, the biggest issue, whether it be politically, socially, even in our communities. Everybody feels like all cannabis is the same. It's not.
Right.
It's not. They have strains for, hey, I just need to focus on my depression, my anxiety, maybe my mental health, maybe it's focus, maybe it's pain management, but I don't want to be so lethargic.
Right.
Okay, so then you would need a sativa strain because it's going to keep you awake.
Right.
It's going to keep you alert. It's going to still help you with pain management, but it's also going to give you a calming so you don't feel so anxious, you know. But you may be a person, however, that you need the pain management, but maybe you can't sleep.
Right.
You know,
maybe
you have high blood pressure and you need to bring that down a little bit.
Oh, it helps with high blood pressure?
Oh, it helps your high blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness. It helps your high blood pressure. I would never tell anyone to get off of their blood pressure medication, but I would say explore that. Explore it.
So let me ask you this, Robin. Can you go to your doctor? Because I know there's some medicinal things that are happening in Georgia that you could do, even though the non-medicinal not legal yet, but the medicinal is legal. So you can go to your doctor. Can you go to your doctor and say, I'd like to try cannabis therapy, or how do you do that?
You can. Not all doctors in Atlanta especially will be familiar with cannabis or even be familiar with the natural road that you want to take. And that's with anything. Some doctors just, they don't know
Straight
a lot about,
Western.
they don't know a lot about holistic medicine. They only know Western medicine.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But explore it. There are doctors out there and you can say, hey, I want to try something a little bit more holistic. I want to try cannabis for X, Y, and Z. And you can do that. There are plenty of doctors in Atlanta area and outside the Atlanta area that will subscribe. A subscription, is that what it's called? Prescription? What am I saying?
Prescription.
That's what we're saying.
You want to subscribe? You want to subscribe to the show? You want to prescribe to the cannabis therapy? I got you.
Right. See, she knew my heart. She knew my heart. She knew my heart. But get with your doctor on that, and then what happens is you do have to fill out the paperwork. You do have to qualify. Not all ailments are cannabis. What's the word I would want to say? It's not listed. I will say this. Not all ailments are listed as one of your health, cannabis being one of your health options.
Got it.
It's not for everything, you know. And Georgia has a pretty extensive list, I will say that, on ailments that you can say, hey, I do have these things going on. can I try a cannabis card? And once they give you that card, they're going to send it to the health department. And that's where you're going to pick it up at your local health department. You pay your $25, you show your ID, the card is good for 2 years.
But now, there are no dispensaries in Georgia, right? So
we just got our first dispensary last week in
Really?
Marietta.
So I was going to say, before they opened, where were people going with their cards to get their
Underground.
Oh.
That was the biggest thing here in Georgia. So medical marijuana became legal in Georgia in 2019. We didn't get our first dispensary until last week.
Wow. Of course, it's in Marietta.
So that's why there had been so
That makes
much
sense.
politically with who's getting elected in our last election. Who are we putting in office? These are some of the things when we're talking about going to vote locally.
You got to know what they
These are
stand
some
for.
of the things that
Right.
you should be voting for.
Right. If
This
that's what
involves
you
your
believe.
health.
Right. Exactly.
But to take 4 years before we had our first dispensary. So now you put plenty of Georgians, including myself, in a situation to say, okay, so I have a card, now what?
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Now what? What do I
So
do?
now I can go to Marietta. I mean, I don't have a card, but I'm saying a person with a card can go to Marietta.
Now they can go to Marietta and they're able to purchase from that dispensary with their medical card. That's our first dispensary in 4 years since we were quote unquote.
Wow. And I know that you've been going to a lot of meetings, conferences. I feel like you've even lobbied for the legalization of cannabis in Georgia because it helps a lot of people. I want to tell you guys a story I was thinking about while we were talking just now. I was in California once, and I was with a group of people, and it's been legal in California. Do you know how long? I don't know how long, but I know a long time.
California is probably, I know they're well over 12, 13 years. Maybe.
They're so way ahead of, Georgia's behind a lot of people. But anyway, so I'm in it with this group of people, and they're all partaking. I am not. And I hear someone say, oh, we're running out. And it was like 9 o'clock at night. So the dispensaries were closed. Now, I've never been to a dispensary. I was like, oh, I want to go because I want to see what a dispensary looks like. But they were like, oh, it's going to be closed by the time we get there. Don't worry about it. So then she pulls her phone out and she's doing this. And I don't think anything about it. I'm thinking like she's doing a text message, whatever. I go about we were at a beach house. So I went outside to the ocean and I came back in and the doorbell rings. And it was a Uber person delivering
cannabis delivery.
I said, wait a minute, did he just deliver cannabis?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was really interesting, and this shows how forward thinking California is. And I thought that was so dope that you could just make a phone call and get what you needed when your dispensary is closed. And she had a medical card as well, but she didn't need it because it's legal. I just thought that was a funny story to share. Let me ask you this question. What's the difference between, I know people have this question, what's the difference between CBD and marijuana?
First and foremost, it's the same plant.
That's why I want to ask. I know it comes from the
It is
same
the
plant.
exact same plant. If you take a hemp plant and you grow it and then you harvest it before it matures, you will have CBD. If you allow that plant to stay and grow and you fertilize it and it reaches maturity, it will develop THC. But it's the same exact plant.
So THC makes the difference in marijuana versus CBD.
Correct.
CBD does not have any THC in it.
Correct.
And THC is what makes you feel the difference. CBD, you don't.
THC has the psychotropic.
What? What's that word?
That people are into. Like any
Oh,
other
I see what you're
psychedelic.
saying. I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Like any other psychedelic.
Right.
Wild mushrooms, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Wild mushrooms have a psychedelic.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still mushrooms.
Right. Got it.
So it's the same plant.
So now that makes sense because I was on Little 5 Points. I think I might have called you that day I saw that store and it had a big weed sign on it. And I was like, how are they doing that in Georgia? It's illegal. But they're probably doing CBD, but using the weed plant logo that everybody uses. Because it comes from the same plant. That's why you can do that.
And I think it confuses people.
It does confuse. I was very confused. I said, on breaks. Like, wait, how are they doing it? Okay, that makes sense. There's a place at Little Five Points that has a huge sign on the door on the right side. And I was like, how are they doing that? And it's not legal, but so they're doing CBD. Can you give us some benefit? Are you familiar? Do you use CBD at all, like in your business?
I do use it in my business. I've used it personally. I will say it's not quite for me, but some people get total benefit from it. There's so many people that it works well for them. So I don't knock CBD because it does have a lot of health properties. A lot. It really, really does. But that's the whole plant to me itself.
Period. Right.
You know, has those health benefits. So for me, I would say if you are a person that you've never tried anything and you're exploring your options, start with CBD. Start with that and see how you feel.
I used, we were at a festival and I used a CBD cream and the lady was like, try it on your knee because my knee was hurting. She said, try it on your knee and then come back and see me in an hour. And I really did feel some relief. And then I bought one at a conference you were at and it really worked for me, but I used it so much, it was shea butter based and I had the oil from my hand just really, it just erased all of the information on the label. So I couldn't go back and order more. I was very sad about that. But that really worked for me, and now I don't know how to get back to that. But I'll just keep trying some CBD.
It really does work. Now, don't do like me and forget that it's THC, and I don't use it as lotion and forgot.
Wait, say that again now?
I've been lathered my whole body in it.
And it had THC in it?
Yeah.
See, mine did not have THC in it. It was
don't
CBD.
Forget. And
wait, you had CBD with THC? No, you had
THC shea butter.
Got it.
Sitting next to the regular shea butter.
And it went in your bloodstream?
And wasn't paying attention, grabbed the THC shea butter and just lathered down. Like, I was oiled up.
So
and then I was like...
Why do I feel funny?
Yes, I had to I'm going about my business and I said, wow, I'm feeling really relaxed. Like,
let me take a nap.
I went back, looked and I said, oh, no wonder. Like, I done used the wrong one.
Wow.
When I say head to toe, back, everything. Glistening. I was glistening.
And feeling very good.
Feeling
That's
great.
hilarious.
Feeling
now,
great.
Let me take a moment to tell everybody on the show, we always tell people what we're drinking. So Robin has an herbal tea, mango and green tea with honey and lemon. It's good.
With honey and lemon. This is wonderful. Try this with a tincture. You be in there.
Now, okay, I'm going to say what I'm drinking and you're going to explain what a tincture is. I just have a little Diet Dr. Pepper with a splash of something else. A little dark.
I got a splash of something else
in here. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. So proud of your business. So proud of you getting into it's like a fight. It's like being in a business with good old boys. Because it's not, first, it's not a lot of women. And B, it's not a lot of black folks, period. People of color, period. And especially, you got women and being of color. So I'm really proud of you because I remember years ago, you were like really like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And some people, there wasn't a lot of support for it. I felt like they were not just for you, but just in general.
But there still isn't. Yeah. And that's why I appreciate you so much. Even this platform is a lot for women of color. And I heard you mention about 10% of people of color in this business. And
that's Hispanic, Latina,
and Black. That's not just Black of color.
Right, period.
Take that 10%, Black women represent less than 1%.
Wow.
Of that 10%. We represent less than 1% in this business. So think about that. Even think about people of color. We're farmers by nature. We're farmers by trade. We're farmers because of our history. That is what we do.
That's true. I'm going to go back to tincture. Use that word. A lot of people don't know what that is, Robin. You say it like, just rolls off your tongue. But can you tell people what a tincture is?
Tincture is a liquid form of THC or CBD. It could be either one.
I didn't know you could do tincture CBD.
You can.
Okay.
You can. You can have either one. What I enjoy about tincture is you can put it in your coffee, in your tea.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it moving. Put it in your juice. Put it in your juice.
I have another
What
question.
about health, you guys? Put in your juice and start your day right. That's what I'm saying. Apple juice, what they say, an apple a day? Yes.
She's killing me. All right, wait, I have another question. If a woman wanted to get into, were you in your 40s when you started?
I was in my 40s.
And yes, she is 50 plus. I know my guest be looking great, so I want to confirm that she is 50 plus. What would you tell someone if they said, I want to get into that business? What would be the first thing what would be their first step? Like, to
the cannabis industry is so large
mm-hmm.
and growing
mm-hmm.
rapidly. I think the first thing I would say is really figure out what part of the cannabis industry you want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much. You don't have to even touch flower. Maybe you are a person that, maybe you're in transportation, let's use for example.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's your primary job. You can start driving and doing deliveries. There's rural areas all over Georgia, and there's patients in these rural areas that need their medicine or THC. We just opened the first one in Marietta. What if you were picking up for them and taking it to these rural places?
Can you do that? You can do that. Okay.
Yes. You have to, of course, you get the proper licensing.
I guess you wouldn't say it if you couldn't do it, though.
Right. You get the proper licensing, but think about it.
Right, I got you.
You know, or maybe you're a person that says, I don't feel comfortable touching flower, but I really want to be in this industry, and maybe you were an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
They need cannabis accountants.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you know what? When you say touching flower, can you just explain what you're saying?
Meaning you don't want to touch cannabis itself in the flower form. But maybe you really do want to be in this industry that is growing.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you don't feel comfortable, or you're not even familiar yet with the cannabis form, the flower. But you have all these other ideas. You can take what you do professionally and you can shift it. And that's what I did.
Right,
right. And I
exactly.
said, I cook. And I stole my granny's recipes, but
and some of your mamas too. I ain't trying to tell your business.
But you start where you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I went to a
festival
and they had a young artist there, and people were lined up to paint. And he had all these different cannabis photos and pictures, and people, I want to paint that. Oh, I want to paint this. So you find what your niche is,
and make it
but
work.
there's so much you can do,
right?
In this industry. I've seen people that just speak. I've seen people that just do workshops. I've seen people that cook like I do. I've seen people that say, hey, I used to be an accountant and now I'm going to move it over to this. Hey, I used to be a truck driver,
right?
And I'm going to move it to this. There's so many things, even security. I've seen people who strictly do expos and they are the security for whatever business. Because you got to think, you're dealing with a lot of cash.
Right. A lot of cash.
Yes.
I said 10 billion, right? So look, I was thinking about the conference. Where was that conference I went to with Charles? What was that conference at?
Detroit.
Mm-hmm. So I went to Detroit, and I had never seen a cannabis conference. Is that what they call it?
Expo.
Cannabis
that was an expo.
Mm-hmm. I was like a kid. Y'all should have seen me. I was just taking pictures, sending it to my friends. Like, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. It was everywhere, and it's all that you just said. That's what made me think about it. They had it was an expo, so they had booths like everybody else does, and they had different vendors who were educating people about all the things you just said and all the different ways you can get involved. There were not enough of us there. I think I counted maybe 12, maybe it was like 300 vendors, and I saw maybe 12 of us represented.
And break that down to how many women you saw.
Right. You and another one.
You might
I think
find
another
one or two.
Yeah, I think it was two of them. And this is really interesting. There was a brother next to your booth that had the seeds, but he had seeds that I guess he had harvested the seeds, and they were just in pretty packages. It was just really very creative. So I really enjoy just being in that world. You just don't know that even exists.
Oh yeah, and then you will be so surprised at how many people over 50 are at these expos.
Oh yeah, Because it's a great new beginning.
Oh, yes.
It's a great new beginning.
What I would love to see is more veterans get the benefit from cannabis, because they don't.
Wow.
They don't.
You're giving people a lot of ideas. You're birthing some entrepreneurs right now while we're talking.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really do hope so. I mean, our veterans, they can benefit from cannabis the most, and they cannot touch the flower.
Because of the PTSD. No,
it will impede their benefits.
Right. I'm sorry. Okay.
They can't use cannabis and then go to the VA, to their doctor, and hey, I'm coming from a checkup. I need X, Y, and Z. But if you're using cannabis, guess what happens? The VA will not see you.
Oh, is it? Wow.
So that's something also.
That's
interesting. Balance. You need to be voting.
And you need to know who's for what, and not just the presidency, y'all. We can do better. We can do better. Right. We can do better. Yeah, I just in the last 5 years, 6 years, maybe have gotten into the smaller political, because of those things, and the thing, and learning who makes decisions on our behalf in my zone, and then make sure I vote for those people. I learned so much. Learning that. Yeah, I learned so much here in Georgia. Just trying to navigate through and figure out where is Georgia going to be in the legalization process. I know this 2023, there are 3 more states that's about to legalize this year for recreational. But it's not us. It's not us. It's not Georgia. Pennsylvania being one. Of course. What the other 2? Ohio, Pennsylvania. So out west, up north. One more is on the fence, and I want to say it was Virginia. I want to say. Interesting. I want to say it was Virginia or something like that, because Massachusetts, all of those states, they're on board. Yeah. They're on board. So I think it's unfortunate because Georgia, Atlanta especially, we have so many entrepreneurs here. We have so many people who are wanting to be in this business. We have so many events here, even on the underground sector. Right. So I know that Georgia would do well, Atlanta would do well, but it's the voting. Yeah, it's the voting. So last words on what do you think is going to happen? What's your prophecy on how long you think it's going to take Georgia to catch up with everybody else? And you also go to a lot of meetings, so I know you have some inside scoop. I really feel like our telltale will be next election. I think that give Georgia 5 years, our next major election, I think we'll see a difference. Now, don't get me wrong, in those 5 years, I still feel like Georgia will be one of the last southern states. Because you have to think, we're still in a Bible Belt. Yeah, we're pretty last on everything. We're still, people, we really are. Yeah, Georgia, I'm going to say Georgia is pretty last on everything. Not we, because we're not. But it is my hope, though, in the next 5 years, next election, we'll see a little difference in that. You heard it from Robin first. So you guys know we're going to close out. You guys know that I always like, if my guests want me to, if they allow me to, I like to talk about their status, their personal status. Look, she's looking at me like, what you about to say? So Robin is married. She has a wonderful wife, supportive wife that has supported her through all your meetings and all that. Yeah, all that great stuff. And I was trying. Oh, wait. I was about to say something else. I'm not gonna say that. I get emotional if I start talking about how wonderful she is. But I want you to tell everybody how to contact you. If they want to see your IG page, your website, what should they do? If you go on Facebook or Instagram, it is the Greenleaf Potion. If you go on my website, it is thegreenleafexperience.com. Oh, I like that. You got to experience the green leaf. It's a whole vibe. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's a whole vibe. And she has some great merch, some really nice merch. I own a couple of things myself. So check out the merch when you go to her website. Robin, thank you so much for coming today and being on About This Asian Thing. I appreciate you. Until next time, you all know that black may not crack, but what about the other shit? Don't forget, don't count the years in your life. Count the life in your years. Peace.
Peace.